Have you ever wondered how a simple glance can change the course of history? Allow me to take you back to a time when King David, a ruler revered for his wisdom and valor, found himself entranced by a sight from his palace. His eyes fell upon a woman of incomparable beauty, a woman bathing. This was not just any woman. This was Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite, a warrior of great esteem. Despite the moral constraints of her marital status, David found himself drawn to Bathsheba like a moth to a flame. The knowledge of her being another man's wife did little to douse his desire. It was a desire ignited by a mere sight, a desire that would soon send ripples through the kingdom. In that moment, King David made a choice. A decision was made that day, a decision that would ripple through time and shape the future of a kingdom. Have you ever pondered the complexity of honor and fidelity? Let's explore the narrative of Uriah, a man of unshakable integrity, who unknowingly found himself in the midst of a royal scandal. King David, consumed by his lust for Bathsheba, Uriah's wife, and later the mother of Solomon, who succeeded David as king, devised a scheme to hide his misconduct. He recalled Uriah from the battlefield, intending for the soldier to spend a passionate night with his wife. This way, the child Bathsheba was carrying could be declared as Uriah's. But Uriah was a man bound by honor. Despite the king's coaxing, he rejected the luxury of home while his comrades were still at war. Instead, Uriah decided to rest with the palace soldiers, foregoing the comfort of his marital bed. His unwavering loyalty to his warrior's oath and his comrades sharply contrasted with the king's covert actions. David tried persistently, even resorting to intoxicating Uriah in an attempt to lower his defenses, but to no success. Uriah's steadfast integrity remained strong, refusing to violate the rules of war that governed him. Unbeknownst to him, his loyalty was being twisted, manipulated by a king desperate to bury his wrongdoings. In cruel twist of irony, Uriah's loyalty would be his undoing. An honorable, loyal man, Uriah unknowingly took his own death sentence back to the battlefield. All the while, the king who dispatched him observed from the safety of his palace. What happens when power is misused, when desires overshadow morality? This is the question we face as we delve into the tragic demise of Uriah the Hittite. King David, unable to sway Uriah into his cunning plot, resorts to a chilling solution. He orders his general, Joab, to place Uriah on the front lines of the battle, where danger lurks in every corner. Unbeknownst to Uriah, the death sentence is handed to him, sealed in a message he himself carries. In the siege of Rabbah, Uriah meets his untimely end, a pawn sacrificed in the king's game of desire. Bathsheba, now a widow, mourns the loss of her husband. Her sorrow, however, is short-lived as she becomes the object of King David's desire once again. She is taken into his house and becomes his wife, bearing him a child. David had his desire, but at what cost? Could a king's actions escape divine judgment? This question takes us to the heart of our story. King David, despite his power and authority, was not beyond the reach of divine retribution. Upon learning of David's actions, God sent the prophet Nathan to reprove the king. Nathan presented a parable, a tale of a rich man who had stolen a poor man's only lamb. The rich man in the story, as Nathan explained, was a direct analogy to David's actions concerning Bathsheba. Nathan declared that God would bring calamity upon the house of David for Uriah's murder and the taking of his wife. He prophesied that someone close to David would seize all of David's wives and lie with them in broad daylight for all to see. A harsh punishment indeed, but one fitting for a king who had used his power to commit such an egregious sin. David, for his part, did not attempt to deny or justify his actions. Instead, he confessed his sins and expressed sincere repentance. But repentance did not absolve him of the consequences. Shortly after Bathsheba gave birth to their first child, God struck the infant with a severe illness. Despite David's pleas, fasting, and nights spent lying in sackcloth on the ground, the child died after 7 days. David accepted his punishment, a painful reminder of his actions. A king, no matter how powerful, could not escape the divine judgment. Can redemption be found in the midst of chaos? One might ponder this as we delve into the final act of Bathsheba's story, the rise of her son Solomon. Bathsheba, once a woman caught in the throes of a king's desire, now found herself in the heart of the kingdom's politics. Her role? To secure Solomon's succession to the throne, a task as daunting as it sounds. David, now in his twilight years, had made promises to Bathsheba. Promises that their son Solomon would ascend to the throne, bypassing David's older surviving sons by other wives. Bathsheba, with the cunning of a queen and the determination of a mother, set out to ensure these promises were kept. She navigated the treacherous waters of court politics, advocating for her son's right to rule. However, the consequences of past actions were not yet finished with David's house. Nathan's prophecy, a divine decree of retribution for David's sins, was about to unfold. Absalom, another of David's sons, rebelled against his father, leading an insurrection that thrust the kingdom into civil war. A war that was not just about power, but also a symbolic retribution for David's past transgressions. Absalom, to stake his claim as the new king, went as far as to publicly lay with 10 of David's concubines, a tenfold divine payback for David's secret taking of another man's wife. Through all this turmoil, Bathsheba remained steadfast. Her son Solomon eventually did succeed David as king, fulfilling the promises made to her. In the end, Bathsheba's story is not just about a woman who caught a king's eye. It's a tale of power, desire, and redemption. A tale that echoes through time, reminding us of the potential consequences of our choices. Bathsheba's story is a testament to the resilience of a woman in a time when women were often seen but not heard. It's a narrative that continues to inspire, showing us that redemption can indeed be found, even